Alright guys, this might be a Pride post. I'm not sure. We've got a 33-minute game on Green Tooth Jungle Redux. I think this is Inori Best Grill. I don't know who Inori is. I'm not that much of a weeb. I just like Xenoblade Chronicles and Fire Emblem. That's like the extent of my weeb. I've got a couple of Fire Emblem amiibos near my monitor, but literally that's the extent of my weeb. I don't know who Inori is, so tell me in the comments below if you're an Inori fan and if she indeed is the best grill. So we're going to have What Spider Exarch up against Fathom's FC. Now I will be honest, this matchup is tough for the What Spider Exarch, I think. What Spider Exarch as an Eldar hero is the worst out of the three, especially in tier 1, for dealing with jump squads and just heavy melee coming at you. Not literal heavy melee, but just lots of melee. Now obviously Space Marines, they don't get that much melee, but the ASM are just a bitch to deal with. Because a lot of other melee, like Sluggers, Harmagants, you can shoot them to death with your high DPS Guardians. You can't do that with ASM. 1, because they jump on you, and 2, even when they have jumped, they're heavy infantry with really high HP. I forgot to turn off this again. Fuck me, what's wrong with me? So, yeah, this can be a tough one, but this is a big map, and that helps the What Spider Exarch a lot. It's going to be interesting to see whether the What Spider Exarch goes for a classic fast tech or not. It doesn't look like he is at the moment because he's going for the fast ranges. If he was going for a classic fast tech, you would typically see double nodes straight away and triple gens, dropping an extra gen on your secondary power farm, so you have 4 gens right at the start. Then if you get gen bashed by a quick flame attack push, doesn't matter, you just drop gens on the other one and get a shuriken out to protect from the flame attacks. This is a really risky engagement here by the Banshees. They're really trying to get special attacks super low. Do manage to get out of there. They were waiting for that aspect of strength, which gives them that little bit of a health buff. But they did have to retreat out there, or they would have been dead. They killed 1 tack, so what's that? Are these ladies 35 each these days, so 2 of them's like a tack. So, yeah, that is favourable for Fathom, believe it or not, because he didn't lose any scouts. Fathom's going for the triple scouts. Pretty classic, actually. Well, not classic, but it's meta. It's not classic because it's kind of a new thing, but it's definitely meta these days to go for the triple scouts. People are really loving the sergeants, the shotguns, and basically fully upgrading the cunts. The infiltration's really nice, not only for nading side-capping units, but gives you that regen when you're out of combat. Does the elite training upgrade. So you see how the Rangers put a lot of HP damage onto the scouts here but didn't kill a model? Well, if these guys had elite training, they could easily just back off and they'd start regenerating like crazy when they get out of combat, and they'd be back in the action with full HP then the next time you actually need them to fight something. So it's a great little upgrade, and I would expect to see it, and presumably that is why we see Rangers first rather than Shurikens first. Because of course if you do go Shurikens first, you leave yourself quite vulnerable to infiltrating scouts running around and nading your ass. Now, if you put the Shuriken behind an energy shield, you are protected from the nades, but then you're immobile, and this is a really big map, so you really don't want to be stuck, bound by energy shields. Nice attempt at a nade spike, and a very good dodge there from Inori. Probably could have killed one of the scout models there, goes for the FC instead. No bleed, of course. Now we're getting into overextension territory. I was going to say, if they use their washout, unfortunately they're getting peppered by the turret though, so yeah, this is a bad engagement. Gets out of there without losing any models though, which is quite nice, and I suspect that we're going to see a relatively fast tech here. Otherwise I would expect more units out. Now the way that Inikura's economy is balanced at the moment, and given that he only went for 1 ranger, he's actually being a little bit suboptimal. He really should drop another gen over here, or try and node something else, but there's no other points to node on this map. You've only got 4 power nodes, there's no contested. Just 2 naturals. So he really should drop another gen, and I think with this big push that's coming out now, I'd be dropping another gen as well, because there's a good chance you're going to start losing gens here, and he's just floating loads of wreck. Now don't get me wrong, it isn't too bad to float wreck as a What Spider Exarch, because you can use your red to call in What Spiders for just wreck in tier 2, but Innie doesn't actually have any wreck for them at the moment. Sorry, not any wreck, any red He only has 63. Can't remember how much it is. Maybe it's 150 or something, or 100. Look, it's more than 63. So he needs to start bleeding some models to get that. Otherwise, he's going to be floating a lot of requisition for not a lot of help. Fire Dragons are always nice against Space Marines, but the problem is Fire Dragons are kind of slow. It's a big map. Really like Warp Spiders, especially with all this light infantry, triple scouts, Force Commander. All of them will take big damage from the Warp Spider squad. And the mobility will help on the map too. Any sort of gem bash? No, I didn't even manage to tickle the generators. I don't know what happened there. Well, I guess Fathom sort of fell back with his units. The problem here for Fathom is he's getting smashed in map control, which is kind of weird because Rangers aren't really a proper combat unit. They're very much a support unit, and they should lose 1v1 versus basically everything. And Fathom outnumbers Innie, and Fathom has the 50% extra capping speed tax. So yeah, this is a bit weird. But he couldn't press his advantage because he had to fall back and try and cap his map, and even now he's getting pushed off once again. And already Inakura is tier 2, he's going to opt for the Dark Reapers. So Dark Reapers, again, like Fire Dragons, pretty good against the Space Marines. They actually don't really do any more damage than Fire Dragons, but they have way longer range. The downside is they don't do any anti-vehicle, whereas Fire Dragons, of course, are fantastic anti-vehicle. So that's what you're working with. Of course, Fathom's build lacks any ASM, which against a Warp Spider Exarch I think is very inadvisable. I think you always want ASM versus a Warp Spider Exarch. Wow, Ranger's risking dying here. Okay, does retreat them out in time. See these fully upgraded scouts putting in their value here. And you see the Guardians getting wrecked as well, even with the 33% extra HP from their upgrade. They need to get their Warlock out to give them that. Is it 20% damage resistance to ranged? It's either 15 or 20%. Makes them so much more tanky. And now that they've got that Warlock, they will handily beat the Scout Squad 1v1. Now, if Guardians with Warlock stand out in the open, they will actually, believe it or not, 1v1 Warp Spiders in the open. But obviously, one of the best things about Warp Spiders is because they teleport, they should never take a fight where they don't have a cover advantage, and that's one of the reasons why they do so well fighting other ranged units. They should always have a cover advantage. But here we go, the Dark Reapers are on the field, making their presence known against a power node. Let's see how they do here against these oncoming scouts. Now, part of the problem is they can't see those shotgun scouts. Lazy point-blank grenade. Storm Shield! Cool, I like that. What a great choice. Weird choice, but hey, up against all this piercing damage, inferno damage, a lot of range damage, right? Gonna be quite effective. Tier 2 Banshees could be problematic. When they get their Exarch in Tier 2, they get 50% damage resistance to ranged whilst fleeting. Meaning, whilst using fleet of foot. So, right now, all of the counters to the Banshees are ranged damage. They're shotguns and pew-pew. Force Commander isn't going to do much with Storm Shield and Chainsword. So them having that damage resistance is going to be very effective. Rangers trying to pew-pew onto the scouts here, but as you can see with the Storm Shield, not going to do a hell of a lot. And let's have a look at their HP regen. Look at that, guys. Look at this. Because they're out of combat, meaning they haven't attacked any time recently. Can't remember, it's something like 4 seconds, haven't attacked within 4 seconds or something. They get that regen. So they just shrugged off all that range damage, and all that range damage is basically just a waste of time. But a Wraithlord is now on the way. We've got the Warp Spider Exarch being annoying, takes out a generator after capping this part of the map, and honestly, well, to be fair, I thought the VPs would have been worse for Fathom at this point. He's only down just short of 100 VPs, so it's really not that bad. We haven't seen any Webway gates yet, though. And I suspect that we're going to see Webway gates instead of the Warp Spider call-in at this point because of the fact that we've got Dark Reapers. Getting both Dark Reapers and Warp Spiders is kind of an overinvestment into elite ranged infantry, I think. Typically, especially on a big map like this, you get your Wraithlord and then your next purchase here would be an Autarch. Because she can jump in, disrupt the last devs, and she can just run around the map and do a lot of great things. What just happened there? Oh, it looks like there was a really clean grenade hit on the Dark Reapers, and as usual, Dark Reapers basically not really achieving a whole lot. I feel like Dark Reapers are so good in 3v3, or just team games in general, when the maps are really laney. So you kind of just have to walk into them and they can just stand still, exploit their range and put on the hurt. But in these bigger maps, in 1v1 where you have to split up your army, you're not in a big blob, I think Dark Reapers really suffer. I don't like the pick. I think Warp Spiders would have been a million times better. I feel like I say that quite a lot. But you know what, even to differentiate what I normally say, I'm not just advocating Warp Spiders, I think even Fire Dragons would be way better here. One of the annoying things about Dark Reapers is how they don't fire whilst moving. So when you're like chasing really fast scouts in all these different directions, it's just so frustrating. We'll see though, gotta give them a chance. They will be very good against these Devastators, they melt them if they're out of cover. And they've got better range than normal units to the Dark Reapers, so they don't have to get quite as close either to get rid of them. Obviously, Dark Reapers do get suppressed, so they will need to flank this Devastator. Wraith Lord slowly regenerate because of his Wraith Bone. Of course, it would value a bit more repair support. Hey, they got a model off these scouts, so they won't just fully heal up with the elite training now. That's nice. I don't even think these ones have the elite training. I know, what am I talking about? They're infiltrated. Of course they do. Oh god. No! Another nade spike. Lucky there for Innie actually. Only kills one Dark Reaper, so not too big of a deal. Wow, what are the Banshees doing? Oh, I see. The Warp Spider was in there. He went down, so I've lost the indicator. That's an annoying replay bug. He's got the Power Blades. 53 DPS heavy melee, so he's forcing off the devs, but there's still just way too much range fire, and I feel like the Banshees just committed a little too early for that. And the Warp Spider's gonna go down again. I don't really know what's happening here. This is a very sloppy engagement. Only 2 Dark Reapers, so they're not gonna do a lot of damage. They need to be focusing on attacks. And the Eldar are bleeding like crazy.
Understood.
These naked scouts here, I don't know why they're hiding here. They do such pitiful damage, they're not going to deter anyone capping. They should just be taking wreck points, you know? At the very least, take that, jeez. It's constant skirmishing with the scouts and the rangers over here. Just fucking upgrade your scouts with shotguns, man, and sergeant. Just do it with everyone. Because then it's just going to be a nightmare for the Eldar to deal with it. Banshees will be relatively ineffective against such. Rangers will be completely useless. And once again, we see the Warp Spider Exarch and the Banshees kind of charging into the whole army on their own. I mean, if there was a Thunderhammer here, this would be the end of these Banshees quick time, but even without it, you've got the buff from the Sacred Standard. This is a lot of range DPS. Those Banshees are getting melted. So we got some missile attacks as well. That's going to put on a little bit of pressure onto the Wraith Lord. Nothing crazy though. We're going to see tier 3. Wow. That is quite brave given he has 2 gens and he's losing like the whole map. Does manage to get a sneaky little cap on the side there. Still really wish these scouts were moving down and taking this wreck. He could have easily had that wreck for ages now. You got to think, not only would that be 30 wreck for Fathom, but it's 30 less wreck for Innie, so it's an effective differential of 60 requisition between the 2 players if those scouts had just moved every minute. It's a big deal, man.
Fight on and
you see, like, well, what are these scouts doing? They're not deterring the Warp Spider. Even if they were correctly behind cover and shooting at him, they wouldn't stop him. They just don't have enough damage. He could just teleport in, force them off, and then take it. Like, they're not achieving anything being sat there. If anything, they should be further back here so you can't see them, and then when you leave, they can come in and decap it, but just give them the shotguns and the infiltration. So he's doing that over here, you see, just hiding the scouts. They'll be well out of the line of sight of the Dark Reapers here, so he won't see these. And Innie is going tier 3 as well. VPs are still pretty tight. Less than 100 VP differential between the two players here. The naked scouts come out, resume the cap. They're going to take over this at last. This lone ranger is not really achieving a whole lot, I must admit.
The task unfinished is a prayer unanswered. Scouts ready. Bring forth the artificer's armor.
Yeah, with the elite training on these scouts, man, the ranger just... it takes so long to get anything done. And they just back off and heal. All those shots are wasted. The ranger's running out of energy for the infiltration. Scouts come out. Okay, they're getting elite training now as well. I like that. I like that. Bit of miss macro here from Fathom. Devastators were shooting at the Guardians early on, but it doesn't matter. The Banshees are just sort of air moving in. I don't know why. The Dark Reapers should have been focused firing the Devastators rather than whatever else they were hitting. But even then, it wouldn't have been great because of the beautiful Storm Shield, which would prevent the Dark Reapers from suppressing anything with their ability and just generally protecting from the range damage. But they do manage to force off the Space Marine blob, but I don't think the Space Marines... no, the Space Marines lost no models. And the Banshees lost quite a few. They lost like 3 or 4 models, including the Exarch. That said, Inni's got a pretty damn good economy right now, for some reason. Let's have a look at the pop. So Fathom's on 71 and Inni's on 56, okay. It's a pretty good game so far. Players aren't making too many mistakes. That's a nice reaction there from the scouts, got them out. Grenade goes in, failed attempt, but I guess it deters, it delays the cap. Oh, this is a bad spot for the Wraithlord. Oh, I think this Wraithlord's fucked. Yeah, no way it's getting out of there. You got missile attacks and last kind of devs. Look at the range on these last devs. Yeah, this is over. Dead. Ooh. Honestly, I feel like that Wraithlord didn't really achieve much all game either. Kind of a tough map to use walkers because it's so big. Walkers are so slow. But it's kind of a hard faction to go Falcon versus, especially the Force Commander. Teleporting Power Fist Force Commander with Armor Alacrity can be a nightmare for a Falcon. Melter Bombs likewise, but there are no Melter Bombs because there's no ASM. I'm going to see Seer Council. Okay. I mean, I don't really feel like the Banshees are putting in that much work to warrant Seer Council. And of course the Force Commander can just swap to Thunderhammer. I don't like the Seer Council, I'm going to be honest with you. Because all Fathom needs to get now is a Predator, and his composition is going to be amazing. Really, really strong. There's no AV at all for Inakura. Seer Council, as good as they are at killing infantry, don't do AV. Okay, here we go. Web Brigade's starting to come up now. Scouts on this side should be able to detect that. Part of the reason why you want the fully upgraded scouts is to do things like that. That's kind of devs trying to kill the rangers with their pew pew from their bolters. Force each other off. There's the Warp Spider Exarch. Can never see that fucker. I don't feel like the Warp Spider Exarch's achieved a whole lot with those power blades, but I don't know if this is Inakura, because the play is a bit lacking in some instances. He seems to be sending in the Warp Spider very isolated a lot of the time. Like right now, the Seers are going in. They're actually going to do quite well. I don't know why the Seers were not told to attack the devs. That was a blatant misplay. They should have leaped into combat and knocked over the devs and wouldn't have lost all this HP. Oh my god, another nade on these Dark Reapers. How did that guy live? I feel like that was point blank. God. But yeah, we're going to have to see... Well, like I said, a Predator would be amazing against this composition, but I guess we're not going to see it. Might see a Land Raider. Look. If a Predator is going to be good in its composition, there's a good chance that a Land Raider will be very good as well. Land Raiders in 1v1 are usually just I win buttons, because you guys know how hard it is to kill a Land Raider in 3v3, right? Well, in 3v3, you tend to stay in tier 3 for longer, you tend to have way more nukes available, and you tend to have critical amounts of AV because you can take all the AV from free players, push it down a lane to blow up the LRR, and then move on. It's an 1v1. Oh my god, where do you get the AV DPS from to be able to kill a Land Raider Redeemer? It's very hard. Very hard. But we're not going to see it. We're going to see Assault Terminators, which... I mean, look, the Assault Terminators will wipe the floor with the Seer Council if they get the chance to focus on the Seer Council. But we've already got Dark Reapers on the field, you know, they've got their tier 3 upgrade, gives them 25% more DPS. They're still not amazing against super heavy infantry, because they only do Inferno damage, not Plasma. But they can put some damage onto the Terminators. Storm Shield's going to negate them a lot of it though. I really don't like these Dark Reapers. Look at the XP they've got. They've done fuck all. I don't like the Dark Reaper design in the Elite mod right now. I really feel like they should be an Elite tier 3 range unit. Because you just think about the Eldar composition. They've got these Elite melee in tier 3, the Seers. Wow, great kill on the scouts there though. The Leap really does set up some great wipes with these guys. And they do have okay range damage. But there's nothing past tier 2 in terms of ranged infantry for Eldar. And Dark Reapers, they were introduced to the mod with plasma damage. They got changed to Inferno damage eventually so that they weren't purely a tool to make Ordo Malleus the Space Marines suffer and useless against every other faction. But the result is that they're kind of just useless all around, to be honest now. Like I say, I think they have utility in team games, but in 1v1, they're really trash. Just get fire dragons. Or bot spiders. I'd like to see the Dark Reapers be an Elite tier 3 unit. So we're normalized now on VPs. I'm really curious what Inori is going to do in order to counter the Terminators. I mean, he's getting some good pew pew with the Ranger here. This is a very precarious position though. He needs to retreat like quickly. Oh, I think the Ranger's gonna wipe. Yep, he's dead. Bolt pistol should kill it. What's he doing? Oh my god, are you serious? Oh no, shit, he's got the Storm Shield, so he doesn't have a pistol. Can he catch it? Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Dead Rangers. War Spider Exact nearly dying again. Actually does manage to get out though. That poor bastard was unlucky. 5 Seers just randomly appeared behind him and killed him. Yikes. And I mean, it's an Avatar. Okay. But Avatars lose to Lightning Claw Terminators. And this is like part of the problem, right? There is no obvious counter in tier 3 to these guys. Dark Reapers don't counter them. They don't. I mean, that's like saying a Plasma Attack counters these. Honestly, I don't even know if Plasma Attacks do more damage to these than Dark Reapers do. Probably not. Dark Reapers probably do have more DPS to them. But it's not a lot. Even think about 2 Plasma Attacks. You wouldn't say 2 Plasma Attacks counter Lightning Claw Terminators. They can do damage, but when there's all these other things to support them, and there's the Storm Shield, yeah, it's not going to get rid of them quickly. The Lightning Claw Terminators counter the Seers, they counter the Howling Banshees, they counter the Avatar, they just beat them all up in melee. Now obviously if all 3 of these things attack the Lightning Claw Terminators, they'll win. But then that's basically all of Vinny's army, and there's plenty of support from Fathom. Again, Fathom can easily swap to the Thunderhammer. He hasn't done it yet, but if he got the Thunderhammer, all this melee is just irrelevant. Yeah, Seers don't want that. And they shall know no fear, using attacks to reduce the damage they take, cause them to passively knock back enemies with their melee attacks. War Spider's really been gunning for these devs all game. I kinda like that. Oh, that's a squished Seer Council. This fucker's dead as well. Is he really gonna live? How? That is an Avatar. Let's see what happens. So the Avatar really does get thrashed 1v1 against Lightning Claw Terminators. Dark Reaper support will help out the Avatar a lot. But defenders come in. Easy dodge with the Terminators there with the teleport. Not that that ability would have done that much, to be honest.
We have 200 points remaining.
You can also use For the Emperor on your Terminators, increase their damage pretty significantly. Unique to the FC. Combine that with the Sacred Standard as well from the FC. You're gonna kill that Avatar pretty quick. And you see the Avatar already underneath half HP. I mean, I must admit, I think the Avatar is, along with the Land Raider Crusader, the worst super unit in the game. Because the thing is, the Avatar gets a lot of benefits from his buffs. He gives, I think it's damage, is it damage boost or damage resistance to nearby Eldar? Can't remember. And he also gives suppression immunity. But the problem is, whether it's damage buffs or damage resistance, the nearby Eldar infantry is shit, because late game Eldar infantry is shit. So to buff them, buffing them is worth a lot less than buffing, you know, late game orcs. If the Avatar was on the orc roster, oh my god, it would be so broken. Giving tier 3 knobs, flash gits, mandos those buffs, it'd be nuts. But you can see the Guardians and the Dark Reapers, they're just sucky. They're just not worth buffing. You want actual elite infantry. What's the point getting a super unit that buffs your infantry if your infantry that you're buffing is shit? Well, it's pointless. And, you know, you might say Swarmlord. Well, look, mate, Swarmlord buffs nearby infantry, but the buff's insane. Increasing the speed of gaunts and letting them reinforce off of you when they reinforce for 2 for 1. That is so strong. Reinforcing Rippers for 1 requisition each, constantly, giving them a speed buff. Wow. If the enemy has a ranged composition, you can overwhelm that so quickly. And the Swarmlord himself, super hard to kill, because unlike the Avatar, it's vehicle armor. It's faster than the Avatar as well. And it gets the big AoE drain. It's a way better super unit, not even close. Great and Clean one, unlike the Avatar, he's a fair bit tankier, not that much, about, what, 20%? Decent bit, but not that much. But he has way better abilities. The Avatar abilities, they're good, but you need to set them up with your hero. With Great and Clean one, you don't need to set them up with your hero at all. They're just mindlessly good. The Big Stomp means melee is useless against him, whereas Wailing Doom, it doesn't count at melee, you can dodge that very easily. So the Avatar gets wrecked by melee, which we've seen with the Lightning Claw Terminators. Anyway. The Avatar's dead, so that's not something we need to be concerned about. I think Innie is fucked here. Compositionally, he can't do anything. Lightning Claw Terminators are on the field again. Let's see how they do. Okay, they're actually getting shredded by the Banshees and the Seers, which is interesting. I didn't expect them to do that good, especially given that the Banshees and the Seers are not even maxed out at level 4. I guess that is one of the nice things with the Seer Council. They do get levels, whereas Terminators don't. Wow, yeah, that was a lot of damage onto the Lightning Claw Terminators. I'm very surprised that Fathom went for a Dreadnought and not a Predator, especially given the size of this map. That seems weird to me. I don't know why Fathom is struggling to gain any map control, and I mean he is struggling. He has 1 point right now, and he lost his entire natural power farm, so there's going to be, well, okay, he's got 75 power in the bank, so maybe 1 more vehicle in this game. But that's going to be it, and he really can't afford to be bleeding like Terminator models and having to pay power to reinforce them.
The Eldar are claiming a victory.
Innie, on the other hand, of course, has no concerns with power, but it's a question of what is he actually going to buy. So he's got the Fire Prism right now, which can easily chip away at the Dreadnought, making it over time. What's this? Oh, Orbital Bombardment. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that's a lot of red to buy him a very small amount of time. But Fathom does need the time right now. Only 36 VPs left for him. Guardians do get out of there alive, but I guess the job was more to, you know, take out the capper. So the scouts are going to rotate across and they're going to deal with the capping. But there are Dark Reapers coming out of a Webway gate, so that's kind of unfortunate. They're not going to be able to cap it. The Seer Council are pressing forward, ignoring the Dreadnought in order to try and tie up the Tactical Marines. once the tactical marines are tied up, there is nothing to kill the fire prism. Well, lightning claws will do a little bit. Power melee does like 15% of its damage to vehicles, so yeah, you can see that the fragile HP of the fire prism and the huge amount of damage that these guys put out, even with power melee, they're ripping the fire prism to shreds. This is really bad micro. Is this really an Akira? Maybe he was, I don't know. Maybe he was half asleep. Maybe he was high. Maybe he hadn't played in many months. If this is an Akira, that was awful. What the fuck was that? Where was the fire prism micro? So desperate to kill a dreadnought that wasn't really fighting anything in particular that was that useful. There was no urgency in killing the dreadnought there. That could definitely have waited. I don't know. I mean, this is crazy. Like, compositionally, Fathom is still in a much better position, but he's behind on VPs against a What Spider Exarch and Greentooth Jungle, and you've got gates everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. So will he win? I don't know. I don't know. Force Commander's level 7, which means he is a higher level than the What Spider Exarch, which means that he cannot be special by the What Spider Exarch, so there's no way to prevent him from finishing that cap there. I do not really feel like the Power Blaze and the What Spider have really worked out this game. Dark Reapers now in an awful position. Dark Reapers did not work out this game. They did awful. Scouts are going to get rid of the gate. Sweet, everything's in retreat, nothing can protect it. Oh, maybe Seer's good. They're not full HP though. Alright, well it's a 2-to-1 cap for Fathom at the moment with 22 VPs left and just under 100 now for Innie. Let's see how things go. Fire Dragons are on the field, fully upgraded I think. Maybe, maybe not. No, I don't think they have their other buff. Okay. One of them death throw kind of Emperor's Fists there. Can you do? Oh, and here we go. Now you've got Melter damage from the Fire Dragons. So, Fire Dragons have Melter damage, which has a damage bonus against super heavy infantry. So, Fire Dragons' DPS is actually way better against Terminators than the Dark Reapers. Seer's actually wiped there. I do note that there is For the Emperor on the Lightning Claw Terminators. That's a testament to how strong those Terminators are, basically fighting alone versus Reapers, Fire Dragons, Banshees, Seers, and a heavy melee What Spider Exarch. Pretty strong unit, but yeah, they wipe, which is not good. Scouts really need to destroy the gate. I don't know what they're doing, why they're not destroying the gate. Force Commander's now going to die to the Banshees. This is a fuck up. Fathom's throwing. Oh, Fathom's throwing hard. He didn't even destroy the gate! No! It's on like 18 HP, you can see it, you've got a sergeant, why would you not destroy that? Oh god. That's not good. And he lost a lot too, he lost his Seers. I don't even know when the Guardians went down. Look at the damage from the Fire Dragons, man, they're so strong. But the Autarch calling comes down, and he's gonna win. It's Innie. Wow. I don't know how he did. Good writing, I guess. I mean, this is the power of Eldar on a big map like this. It is tough. But, yeah, many mistakes made. No ASM, find that very strange. And getting a tier 3 Dreadnought, no Predator. Or a Land Raider. He literally nearly had the money for a Land Raider. I mean, and he had the VPs for it. If you just got a Land Raider, that would have been GG, surely. Even with a bloody Eldritch Storm. It's only one Eldritch. Well, there you go, folks. That is all from your boy Torpid today. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like and a comment. And if you want further exclusive content, check out my Patreon. Torpid out.